Hello everyone, what's up? Prince1215 here with another video review. Today I'm taking a look at Transformers Studio Series Deluxe Class Drift from Transformers Age of Extinction. But before we take a look at the toy, let's take a look at the box. So here is Drift on the front of the box, the exact same artwork that came on his original figure from 2014. So good reuse of assets there. He is the 45th toy from the Studio Series line. As you can see there, he is an Autobot. His name is Drift. He is from the movie Transformers Age of Extinction, my personal favorite of the Michael Bay films. He is for ages 8 and up. Of course, that's just a suggestion. I have to put that on there. He is manufactured by Hasbro. In case you were too dumb to realize this is a Transformer, it spells it out along the side right there. It is from the Generations line, and it is also co-manufactured by Takara Tomy. On the side, we have Drift's face, looking very Drift. He is a deluxe class in several different languages. On the other side, we have, again, same artwork of Drift, just a little bit more of it. He is also an authentic Transformer. And then on the back, we have Drift and everything he does. He is big screen inspired. He comes with a backdrop. He is from the movie Age of Extinction. That's his name. He is from the Autobot reunion scene. He has a very short bio here that says, at the side of Optimus Prime, Drift dives gracefully off a cliff, converting midair into his helicopter mode to meet him, and he transforms in 26 steps. Here's some other toys you can buy. Don't eat the toy, because plastic is not good for humans. And that's pretty much it for the box. So here we have Drift in his helicopter mode from Age of Extinction, a mode that actually I think saw more screen time than his Bugatti mode, or somewhere around. Maybe it was equal, but they got a lot of good use out of his helicopter mode in that film. And yeah, this looks like his helicopter mode in the film. If I have one complaint right off the bat, is that it's very black, where the alt mode in that was very blue because the Bugatti was blue. But other than the fact that the colors are just not really that accurate, and he's more black than blue, I guess he's got a bruise. Sorry, I couldn't resist. It does look very good. It does look very accurate to the film in that respect, is that this is the design that we got for Drift for that mode. We got a version of his helicopter mode in the 2014 line. It was a Voyager, and it was a remake of Dark of the Moon Whirl. I didn't pick that one up because, well, it just wasn't really accurate to the film at all. This one is much, much, much better, and I really, really like the fact that it is much closer. It actually looks like it does in the film, minus the paint job not being correct. And also, it's just a very clever figure overall for a lot of reasons. For one, this is a heavy remold of the original release of Dropkick, helicopter mode Dropkick. You're not really able to tell it in helicopter mode, but when he's transformed into robot mode, you can kind of see where stuff was remolded, and the transformation, I think, is familiar. But the helicopter mode is so drastically different from the heavy remolding and stuff that you can't really tell that they were ever the same toy. And I'm going to say it. I've seen other reviewers say it. I did not own that original Dropkick because I didn't think, because he didn't really look accurate to the film, and I was waiting for the card release, which I've already gone over, so you can watch that now if you haven't already. This version of the mold utilizes the mold way better than Dropkick does. I mean, for one, I think these spin more freely, and for two, it's also weapon storage. These are his katanas. That's what makes up the blades. And I mean, they made up the blades in the movie too, so I mean, it's just really smart. I'm really glad they did this, and it just looks great from a whole bunch of angles. So yeah, so there's really not too much to talk about with the helicopter mode. It's just your basic it's not your basic helicopter mode actually, but it is very accurate to the film, and I like that. So yeah, we'll go ahead and put him down here, and we'll get into some comparisons. Here he is with his 2014 Bugatti release. So yeah, see, that's the color blue. That's the color blue that the rest of the helicopter should be, and not the black. But it's not that big a deal because the rest of it looks gorgeous. So yeah, the helicopter mode is longer. So yeah, that's the reason why the movie Triple Changers have had to get like 2 or 3 different toy releases between them to actually get all of their different forms in, because it's just not really feasible to do that with real vehicles without heavy cheating, because they do a lot of cheating with the films and those special effects. Because I'm not really sure where where, like, say, the back of this Bugatti is in this helicopter when Drift changes form from this to that, and then back to robots. So, yeah, obviously they've had to release 3 different versions to get that. Or, well, I mean, I suppose there's 2 different versions here for the 3 different modes he has. But, and then there's also his last night version, which I also have, which we'll be looking at later in comparison. But it is what it is. I don't mind it. I'm just happy that we have both of his modes there, and they look good together considering it's the same character, and he transformed into both these modes of the film. So we'll go ahead and move himself out of the way, and now we'll take a look at Fall of Cybertron Deluxe Class Vortex. So Vortex is interesting because this guy debuted first. This, well, actually, both the character and this version of the character debuted first, because I don't think Drift is actually a somewhat recent character, I'm pretty sure. Vortex was one of the Combaticons starting like 1985. He's been around for a long time. And so then this is the version of Vortex, sort of, that was released with Fall of Cybertron back in 2012. So when Age of Extinction came out, I kind of went, oh, they just gave Drift Vortex's Cybertronian helicopter mode. Because there are differences, of course, but they're both helicopters, and they both kind of have that very triangular front. They come off very different in toy form, and you can really see the differences, but at the same time, you can see the similarities. It's kind of, that's kind of similar. So I just thought it'd be fun to bring in Vortex for the comparison, since they are close enough of kind of that design like that. So yeah, that is pretty much it for the comparisons. Now let's go ahead and get down to transformation. So now the transformation on this guy may be the tiniest bit controversial, because it involves parts forming, the dreaded parts forming. But considering that this part of the parts forming is just weapon storage, I don't think that's really that bad. I think that's just good weapon storage. So we remove his katanas and move them off to the side. This is really where the parts forming thing comes in, because this has absolutely nowhere to go on the robot mode except to just hang on and be kind of a nuisance, so I just always leave it off to the side. Well, no, hold on. Strike that. It does actually attach to his back, so never mind. I'm just being stupid. But yeah, but this doesn't really serve any purpose. It doesn't serve a purpose in robot mode, is the point I was trying to get at. And so, yeah, we'll just move it off to the side. And then we've also, there's a lot of stuff you got to take off in preparation here. And then there's these little missile launchers that we'll just remove. And now we're ready to get down to business. So first we can take these, and it really doesn't matter which way you put them, because they're really just going to kind of line up the same way, in that they're not actually going to match. They're not, which is annoying to me, but it's not a big deal. So yeah, so now these are positioned that way. And then we want to separate all of this. Here's his head and stuff starting to be revealed. So we can bring these out, and we want to turn those around, and now we've got a head start on the legs. But before we get to those, let's deal with the arms here a little bit. So they'll just come down like that. So now we've got the tail rotor and everything separated, and we'll just bring these out. Now we'll take the front of the helicopter here and start raising it up, and then we'll just get it nice and collapsed on what will be his back. Then we want to take this here, and it can kind of want to have the leg, there we go. Want to have the legs out of the way, and then kind of, this is a little tricky. You do have to kind of position things and move things around, but now we've got things turned right side up. So now we can bring these down, move the arm over like that, just put that in, and now we've got part of the chest made. Same thing over here. Just bring that down, bring it up, make sure the arm is moved out of the way, and just tab it in. There we are. Now we'll move that around, and then we've got an arm done. Same thing over here. Just move that around like that. We've got another arm done. Now, this is where things kind of get a little fun, sort of. Bend that in. I find that helps, and then this swivels around like that. Now that we've got that swiveled around, we want to push that in, that little bit there on the helicopter, and bring this up. For whatever reason, this leg, and this leg in particular, on my copy at the very least, is kind of stubborn and wants to just kind of stick out like that. I'm not exactly sure why, but it is going to tab into the, trying to get the light source to shine, it is going to end up tabbing into the leg. There we go. So now you heard that click, it snapped in, and now we just move that in like so, flip that down, and we've got a leg done. Same thing on this one. Flip that in, and those are small so you can forget them, but they're very important. This leg tabs in much easier, as you heard there. That flips around over there. It's not necessarily in order to that. You can flip that in ahead and then just bring that back. Now we've got a leg done, and then through the process of getting the rest of them transformed, the backpack has kind of come undone a little bit. So now we've got him pretty much done, and then we can go ahead and take this and just pop it on his back for storage, because again, it doesn't really have a use in robot mode, and then just position the legs how we want. Arms, and moving his weapons and stuff off to the side, which we'll get to in a moment. Here we have Drift in his robot mode. And getting a close look up here on his face sculpt, we see that it is absolutely gorgeous. This is the best looking Drift face sculpt we've had of the 3 main figure releases we've got, and I absolutely love it. It looks fantastic. Because let's face it, the other 2 versions, the Last Night version was better, but it still wasn't that great, and then the first one was just kind of derpy, which we'll compare in a moment, but yeah, so. Oh, I'm just now noticing, Drift actually has some details on his katana blades here. Let's see here, I believe that this ancient Cybertronian lettering says 2018 Hasbro SA made in Vietnam, and then a Takara Tomy logo. So it's really cool that they managed to put ancient Cybertronian details on those katanas. So obviously they had to put their copyright stuff somewhere. I guess it just happened to go on those blades. I never noticed that before. So we can outfit him with his weapons. He's got these little missile launchers and stuff. They just pop onto the legs in robot mode. Maybe. If they want to go there. Okay, there's 1. Here's 2. And then now we can give him his main blades. Just put them in his hands right there, and he is ready to go. The blades on this version look really good. They're the best versions of his blades that we've had so far. I wish there was some more detailing and color on them, but at the same time, there's not as much detailing and color on the figure as much, so it kind of actually matches. So I'm kind of okay with it. But I kind of wish they were outlined outlined with the black, then they had the gold. But oh well, it's possible repro labels might be giving this guy a major upgrade along the way. So he does have his faux Bugatti front here, since he's supposed to also transform into a Bugatti. So his arms look nice, but I am just a little bit put off by the fact that he's just got bits of helicopter sitting there on the elbows, or in his wrists or whatever. That I could kind of do without, but that's really a nitpick. Overall, I think this character, I think this figure still manages to look the part of the character. in his robot mode that we saw in the film, while also giving us a good transformation. So I'm fine with these little sacrifices because overall I think it works out very well. So speaking of his other modes, here he is with the 2014 version. So he's a teensy bit shorter now, but overall not a bad translation. So this may still be my favorite version of the character in terms of figures we've gotten. I just really like the transformation on this. This one is certainly more accurate in terms of like the face and the armor and stuff like that. But that transformation is so much fun. I really like the transformation on that one. I think, especially for our first attempt, I think it was really good. But it does kind of suffer from derp face here. It's not the best face. It's not the best facial mold that Hasbro's ever done. But I mean, can you really blame them considering the direction they went with because the faces in Age of Extinction and The Last Knight, with the exception of like Bumblebee and Prime, which were still pretty much very close to, if not the exact same that we had in the first three movies. Yeah, the new robots very much had more of a. The Autobots anyway had very much more of the kind of almost human likeness, which to a degree wasn't horrible, but it does make for some interesting translations for the toys, which is unfortunate. So then also, for comparison, here we have him with his Last Knight version. Speaking of the Last Knight, which this version was not a Bugatti, he transformed into a Mercedes, because I guess Bugatti was too expensive to have in two films, which kind of makes sense. So, yeah, and then this one is a rework of this mold, but it's reversed. So that I never got around to reviewing this version, which I regret, but it is very, very similar to that, but it's just kind of flipped. So watch some old reviews to understand what I'm talking about there. But I still like this version here. I think the things they did with that was clever, and they also improved on the face mold for this one. That one's much more detailed. It looks much better. But unfortunately, the blades on this one are a little bit warped from the packaging. This one's not, but this one, that's shit. And then the smaller blades, I don't even bother with because I have them still, but they were really messed up from warping in the packaging, which is unfortunate. So yeah, here's the three drifts. I think they look good together. They're definitely good. I think all three of them are good representations of the same character. Like I said, I think I'm leaning toward this guy just a little bit more in terms of my favorite, just because of the transformation. This guy, of course, his transformation is very similar, but there are differences because the vehicles are very different. And I don't think it pulls it off as well, but I still really like what they did with this version of the toy, considering what the cool things that they did, transferring, using the same mold, but kind of flipping things around. But this one is still really good. I still really, really like this drift. I think it's great that they managed to give him a very, very accurate both robot and vehicle mode, because honestly, with the exception of the feet here, which are pretty much just the exact same feet that we had on Dropkick, and then kind of part of the upper legs as well, which aren't so the lower legs and the feet aren't really that great in terms of accuracy to the character. You can just tell from these guys. But everything up is pitch perfect. It looks perfect for drift. It even looks better than in terms of the chest. The chest for this one certainly looks better than on this version, because this is a faux chest piece. Unlike this, well, actually that one's partly a faux chest piece, but it still works itself into the main part of the vehicle as well. But this one, because it was fake, they were able to get away with it being a little more rounded, like what we saw in the film. So again, my major critique with this character is that it's not as blue. I wish it was this dark color blue with the light blue highlights, like we see here and like we see on the box. But considering what we got, a robot mode that looks very faithful to the film, with the exception of the color and the vehicle mode especially, I don't care. I think this is a great figure. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the figure itself, but we are not done yet, because every Studio Series toy comes with a little display. So we'll just move the box off to the side, open it up, and then here we have Monument Valley waiting for us so we can reunite with Optimus Prime. So, yeah. So a nice option if you've got room on your shelf. I don't have room on my shelf for these displays, but I think it's still really cool that Hasbro gives you that option. So yeah, really cool toy. I would certainly recommend it if you're interested in anything from Age of Extinction, which very few people are, which I sort of get but don't. That's a whole other topic for another day. Then, but if you are interested, then I would certainly recommend this toy. I think he's pretty good. So that'll pretty much be it for this review. Please watch more videos. I don't know what to say anymore because I'm pretty sure this video is going to fall under COPPA law, in which case I won't have comments, there won't be notifications on this, my likes and dislikes are going to go away. So I guess if you haven't subscribed, subscribe already. Not that notifications are going to do you much good for being subscribed, but I guess just go watch more videos of mine. I'd very much appreciate that. Or definitely follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and if you follow me on Twitter, you know, find the post where I uploaded this video and say, hey, I thought you did a good job on this video. I would appreciate that because you can't tell me on the video itself anymore. So that'll be it for my ramblings. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.